Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into this edition of Fights with Fray. I'm your host, Michael Frazier, AKA Fraymous, from Focus Fights. Today I'm going to be talking with the progressive liberal Daniel Richards, an indie wrestler that has been taking this East Coast region by storm a bit. And on the line with us today, we have the progressive liberal Daniel Richards, indie wrestler who you may have seen taking the scene by storm, especially through YouTube videos that have been trending a lot lately. Actually, due to his antics, the name kind of speaks for itself. Daniel, how are you today?
Hey, good, Michael. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for being on the show. I do appreciate you working with us, little guys out there that are trying to get some traction.
I'm grateful for every single interview that comes my way or is offered to me.
Oh man, that's great to hear. That's the attitude that always makes this easy for everyone involved. So, I'm gonna get right into it. You are the progressive liberal. Can you introduce yourself and explain your character a little bit for the fans and viewers who may not be completely familiar with you?
Okay, so I'm the progressive liberal Daniel Richards, but I mean it's very easy to explain. It's just me going, as I often do, traveling to these Appalachian towns, all these right-leaning towns, and going in and it's not so much my opposing political views, but just it's easy to get these rednecks and hillbillies worked up because they don't like outsiders, which is just so weird to me. As our country is a melting pot, yet these people don't even like people coming in from different cities. And I mean, you get the you're not from around here aria type of vibe. So I come in, rile them up, and look to take down their heroes, and do it my way and hit them with the liberal agenda.
Now, it seems you do a really good job of that. I've seen a lot of your work, a lot of your videos, and it seems you always do a really good job of having the crowd in. I know this is a talking point you get a lot, but you have the crowd in the red states really against you. You do a lot of work in Kentucky in the past, and those crowds were always really hot, no matter the size, whether it was a small crowd or a larger crowd. They don't like you there. But how does that make you feel, being, as you've said previously in the past, this is who you are?
Oh, I mean, it doesn't bother me. I get a kick out of it because, I'm just trolling them for things they deserve to be trolled for. Because a lot of if you're a right-leaning, quote-unquote, conservative and you voted for Trump, you actually are not using any logic or thought in putting those to your beliefs. So to me, they just are ripe to be trolled. And so I don't know, I get a kick out of it because I get tired of listening to ignorant stuff that's repeated on Fox News and, just keeping that to myself. So when I get out there in front of those people, it's an outlet to vent some of those frustrations.
So, is this a character that kind of came to you out of personal frustration, and you using pro wrestling as a bit of a platform? Is that something that just kind of naturally came together?
Yeah, I mean, I just, again, not really a character so much. It's just like me amped up. So it just, it was right there. And I conceptualized it before the Trump stuff started, and then once he came onto the scene, I mean, it added a whole nother dynamic because he's such a polarizing figure. People either love him or hate him, usually for the most part. So that creates a lot of division. And so I just play off that emotion that's there.
Yeah, it really is a natural emotion, especially right now in the country. There is a very blatant divide. It's almost the mainstream media's big focus and target is the division of the country. So it really does.
Well, politics is didn't mean to interrupt, but
No.
Politics is very divisive. So if you watch me, I mean, I know how the media, they focus on the political edge of my character, but at the same time, like, I only use it to a degree. It's not like when I speak to the crowd, I just go on and on about Trump or conservatism or whatever. I mean, I just it's used as a hook. But then I'm, trolling the people like a good heel would and getting heat. Because you have to realize there's that fine line there on what kind of heat you want to have. And you want people go to, whether they're going to a concert or a professional wrestling match or a comedy show, they're going to like forget about their day-to-day life or to be entertained for 2 hours or whatever the case may be. So I don't want to just, I get tired of watching the news. I mean, I watch it to kind of keep up with what's going on, but at the same time, it's like, man, it's exhausting. So I'm not trying to bring people back to that place. I'm trying, we're trying to entertain the crowd at the same time. So it's a fine line that I have to walk, because I want people to come back and boo me or cheer me, as will be the case this Friday night in Richmond. I hope, anyways. It's my hometown, and we're a blue city, yeah. And I'm looking for a good response there. But
yeah, I'm actually glad
fine.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. I was actually going to bring that up at some point. You've been working mainly, I believe, in the Kentucky and West Virginia regions, but you are from Richmond, which is something we have in common. We're both Richmond locals, so welcome home.
Well, I mean, I live in Richmond, and I'm talking to you from my house in East Henrico, just near the city line, and I'm proud to be from here, and I do travel quite a bit, more than just West Virginia and Kentucky. I mean, Tennessee, I go to Tennessee quite a bit. I was in New Jersey, last week. I mean, there's a lot of different states that I hit up. North Carolina, I mean, you name it. It's definitely, East Coast centric. But I mean, I was in Canada, I've wrestled in Arkansas. I think I've hit like 14 states at this point. I think New Jersey was number 14. Got bookings coming up in Indiana, and I'm stoked. I love traveling and seeing different parts of the country, and I'd love to hit all 50 states before it's all said and done.
So, when you're coming home to wrestle in Richmond, it's a lot different than a lot of those places that you named that we mentioned. Are red states. Whereas you can go down Broad Street in Richmond, and Bernie Sanders has a mural on the side of buildings in the city.
Right.
So you said you're looking to be more. You're probably cheered in Richmond, not only for being local, but how's that contrast different from you when you go to a red state to someplace like very that's becoming a liberal place, especially with Richmond, who, as you being from here knows, years ago, not so many years ago, we were on the different side of the line. We've shifted.
Well, Barack, we became a blue state, or we definitely became like a swing state during the 2008 election, for those who don't remember. But yeah, before that, the Republicans in the presidential elections always took Virginia. But now we've evolved, thankfully. I mean, and it's more because of Richmond, Northern Virginia, and the beach. Virginia to me is just a microcosm of the rest of the country. It's it's like if you looked at an electoral map, it would mostly be red, whether it's the country or the state. But the more populated, more educated areas are always the ones that vote blue. So, I think that's what's cool about being here. And I'm glad. Quite frankly, I'm glad that when I vote, I know my vote matters here. Because if you live in West Virginia or Kentucky, and you're voting for a Democrat, they say one vote's equal to the next. It's really not. Especially in the presidential election, because your state's, electoral votes are going to go to the Republican. Just like if I was a Republican living in California, it's going to be the opposite.
No, absolutely.
So here, it actually, I feel like voting, it's crucial.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's right here that, especially the way that Henrico County and Richmond City lie, it's very important there's such large areas. The way they're broken out is very important to vote. That's
Yep.
It's one of the more, I'm trying to think of the best way to put it in these words at the moment, but it's one of the more interesting things I've always found about growing up in Richmond is how important it is. And almost until recently, there was a lack of acknowledgement of that importance. Like you said, since we became the swing state, Richmond has become very voter conscious. It's been in the last decade. It has been such a shift that I've seen in my entire life. It's been amazing.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Now you're coming. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, hopefully, going forward, everyone turns out to vote. I mean, other countries that had democratic elections seem to have far better turnout than we do as a whole. So we could, I guess it could always be worse, but really we could afford to turn it up a lot more.
So a lot of your talking points here, and especially like we were speaking, Richmond and this part of Virginia, you'll probably be more so cheered than booed, just based on the voting. This was something that Jim Cornette once brought up about you, and I found it very interesting. He said that he went on a rant once in an interview and said that he thinks that you should be booked as a babyface everywhere you go. Now, obviously, you have the demographics and the different audiences, but he believes, and this is a guy that a lot of people believe is one of the greatest, bookers in history, that he believes that you should be a babyface. What's your opinion on that, being as your character comes off as a natural heel?
Well, I mean, I think it's just based on where I am, if I'm going to be cheered or booed. So I think you could position me as a baby face in Kentucky, and I mean, it's not that it can't be done, but it'd be a lot harder. It's better maybe to go with the grain in this case. But I mean, I think his broader point was just it was not so much an indictment of how I was booked in Kentucky in this case, what he was talking about, but because Jim Cornette is friends with Bo James, who's my mentor and a guy that trained me, and so he was plugging Bo's promotion at that time. But yeah, I think his broader point is more an indictment against the people than how Bo was booking me. Because the people should, if I'm saying, I want you to have good health care, and people are like, boo, it's illogical, and he was calling them on that.
Yeah, no, that does make sense in that context. It depends on the crowd getting interactions for wrestling in general. Have you ever faced any major backlash as coming into progressive liberal in any of these red states that you wrestle in, you perform in? Have you ever been approached by any fans, or have you ever had what's your craziest story you've had of somebody coming up to you about this? Or have you been lucky enough to everybody kind of respects that it's part of the show?
I've had people get very emotionally upset, and some people are better at controlling themselves than others. But I mean, I've had people come over the guardrail in a fight. I've had threats of gun violence, and I mean, it's not going to change anything for me. It's not an indictment on me. It's to me, it just speaks to those people's lack of self-control.
Does that work as a motivation of any sort, like to add to like the energy into your material when you know that you can get somebody that riled up over politics?
I mean, you see people. I mean, families get people quit talking to each other all the time because of politics. So I mean, I don't know. I just want to keep people emotionally involved in whatever way I want them to care about my match.
Absolutely, that's the goal. That's so if you had, like I said, I'm kind of just going through some different things and trying to keep the conversation moving since we were behind schedule. Um, if you did have just one message to get out there, from your progressive liberal standpoint, and you just wanted to share it, like to have a platform, what would your message be? What is your big goal politically that you personally would like to see?
But it's not about politics to me. It's just that's my hook. It's not. I'm not going out there and trying to change people's beliefs. But if I mean, that'd be great if that happened. They switch from Republican to Democrat because of me. But people aren't coming there to hear a political speech or, it's not a town hall. It's a pro wrestling event. So I guess as far as all that goes, the only thing I really would get, I guess I like when I go to these red states, I know there are people out there who are like-minded politically, and I know it must be hard for them to be over there because they're listening to views that don't agree with his, and they feel like an outsider in their own town because they would be just shamed or ostracized or criticized for their sharing those views, so they just have to keep for themselves. So then I can be an outlet for those people, like a voice for them, and that I get a kick out. I enjoy that.
Now,
And I think that's a lot of feedback I get, and why people choose to follow me on social media or what have you.
So have you've been approached by people saying about you after shows and say, hey, thank you for what you're saying? Has that been something that's
Yeah,
happened as well
for
instead
sure.
of just a negative backlash? Have you seen a positive or like reinforcement as well?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like you mentioned, people traveling from afar to buy a ticket just to watch me and have the opportunity to talk to me. I think that's all pretty cool.
Yeah, that is awesome. So you're going to be performing with Pure Pro Wrestling this Friday at the Hoff, correct? And Scott's Edition.
Alzheimer event venue. Yes, sir. 2818 West Broad Street. Doors open at 7 p.m. I am not saying this as a sales pitch, but I sincerely recommend to people that you get there early. Parking is kind of limited. We'll be posting some updates on that on our event page. Parking's limited, but at the same time, like, our pre-sale has done pretty well. And, we're going to be pushing the fire marshal limit. Again, not saying that promotionally, but based on our pre-sale, I anticipate us selling out. But I also don't think people should be discouraged. I just think, buy your pre-sale ticket now. You end up saving about $4 per ticket after the fee that you can find our tickets on brownpapertickets.com. Just look at Pro Wrestling and Scott's Edition, something of that nature, or do an event search by your zip code or whatever, and you'll see it. But brownpapertickets.com, where also you can find links to our event on Facebook, on my page, Progressive Liberal Daniel Richards. I'm on Twitter as well. And we post links all the time on where you can get your advance tickets.
Go ahead.
You pay $4.
You want to go ahead and drop your Twitter handle so everybody can know where to follow you at?
Yeah, my Twitter is at ProgressLib, LIB 804. So it's ProgressLib 804, and my Facebook is facebook.com/PL Daniel Richards.
Always representing the good old RVA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Daniel, I appreciate you taking the time out to chat with me today. I hope that we can catch up again after the event and maybe go over a little more time. I'd like to eventually pick your brain about some of your stories on the road or whatnot if you're interested in something like that.
Sure, without a doubt. And just one more thing about the event this Friday. Proceeds are going to the Children's Miracle Network, so we're very proud. I always wanted to run an event here in the area. I'm excited to have the chance to do that, and it definitely wouldn't be possible without the help of Tim Danger, who's helped me with the promotion and some of the organizing, and definitely without our sponsors, it would not be possible. So you see our posters, our promotional material. These are businesses, all reputable businesses that I have a good association with and think very highly of. So definitely check out our sponsors. And yeah.
If there's anybody you would like to go ahead and thank a shout out now, feel free to. I'll give you the opportunity.
Man, I don't want to leave anyone out.
Nah.
So go to our event page and check it out.
Absolutely. And everybody, as he said, you can find him on Facebook and on Twitter. And then if you're just looking for some good material, just looking for a good time to entertain, all you have to do is go to YouTube and just type in the Progressive Liberal, and you'll be entertained for hours. I promise you will be. So.
I appreciate that.
Yep, Daniel Rogers, thank you again for the interview and tuning in. I hope that we can get together after the show.
Thanks, Michael. Yeah, hope to see you out Friday night.
Yes, sir. I will be there. I'll be celebrating my birthday weekend, kicking it off with the show Friday night. I'm excited.
No better way to do it. Awesome.
Thanks, man. You have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.